Say goodbye to summer. It's time to play some football. High school football on Friday night under the lights. Tonight from Chesapeake, Virginia, a showcase of two high school quarterbacks headed for the SEC. Phillip Sims, the top-rated quarterback on the ESPNU 150 list, is headed for Alabama. Trey Burton from Venice, Florida, has been compared to Tim Tebow. Next fall, like Tebow, Burton will suit up for the Florida Gators. The stars of tomorrow will be showcased tonight here under the lights on ESPNU.
All of a sudden, you start to have the feeling that Tim Tebow is going to will his team to a victory.
Now he throws it down the left side, has a man open. It is caught, touchdown.
The pass is caught, a juggling catch by Bryant, and he's into the end zone. The fourth of the night for Des Bryant. 25, 20, get in the end zone, touchdown, A.J. Green.
Touchdown, guess who? Green.
Double coverage, A.J. Green with the catch.
You're watching the Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Gatorade. Tonight we're in Chesapeake, Virginia. Oscar Smith High School coming off a 15-0 season, and the Tigers are currently ranked number 8 among the ESPN Rise Fab 50, and they will host the Indians from Venice, Florida. Hi, everybody. Along with John Congemi, the former Pitt quarterback, I'm Mike Gleason. Great to have you with us here on ESPNU. John, baseball fans can talk all they want about opening day, but I'll tell you, whether it's the NFL, college, high school, there's something special about lifting the curtain on a brand new season.
It really is. The lights come on, you play for real, and as a former player, you could always feel that lag in summertime. You're tired of playing against the same defense and running the same plays. Now it means something. Now you're playing for W's.
I mentioned that Phillip Sims is ranked as the number 1 quarterback among the ESPNU 150. You know, you can watch him on film, you can watch him on YouTube for that matter. It really doesn't do him justice because when you see him in person, this guy is really impressive.
He really is, and after spending a day with him yesterday, you can see why he's the number 1 quarterback in the country. He's very mature, confident, and he's passionate about learning the game. And I was very impressed. Yesterday, they must have run 30 to 40 offensive plays, and the ball never hit the ground. He possesses a cannon for a right arm, and I think tonight he's going to showcase his throwing ability.
On the other side, Trey Burton, the quarterback for Venice. Now, he is ranked by the ESPNU 150 as an athlete, but apparently Urban Meyer says he's going to have every opportunity to play quarterback at Florida.
Well, I think it's a tale of two different quarterbacks tonight. For Venice, you know, you have a style that's a running style, and it's different than Sims, but Burton has the ability to throw it efficiently. He's just more effective with his legs. I think he can beat you with his speed on the edge, and with his size, he can lower his shoulder and run right over you. And he reminds you of the Florida quarterback, the current Florida quarterback, Tim Tebow. I think he'll be exciting to watch as well.
So the spotlights are on the quarterbacks, naturally, but John, how about some other Nike Pro Combat game changers?
Well, Evan Hales from Oscar Smith, he's going to hold down the front for them. He's a verbal commitment to Penn State. And then on the other side, you have Beckett Wales, a big, rangy tight end. He possesses good speed and terrific hands on the outside.
Oscar Smith High School, they had the toss. The Tigers are coming on the field right now. And John Peacock, the head coach at Venice High School, just his 3rd season as the head coach, 34 years of age. His first year he went 7-4. Last year 11-1. And they had a very, very upsetting loss in the playoffs. A team that beat them, Charlotte, down in Florida, they actually beat them 56-19 earlier in the season.
Yeah, in the regular season. And on the other side of the fence for Oscar Smith, you have Richard Morgan, who's done a terrific job finally getting that state title last year in his 8th season as head coach here. You can see his overall record of 76-10, but he is so proud of what he's done here, especially last year. Very gratifying in getting that state championship.
Well, 15-0, a state championship. First state championship of any kind for the school, which was built in 1954. Tigers 15-0. They've lost some pretty good football players from last year, but I'll tell you this, Phillip Sims not only can throw the football, but he was telling us yesterday that the first message he delivered to these young guys, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep this train rolling.
Well, they want to keep that momentum going that they built last year, and this team's a very cohesive unit, and it's a cohesive community they have here at Oscar Smith with the family at this high school. So you want to see them keep that pride and that tradition rolling this year.
Well, the Tigers are taking their time, taking the field, getting a standing ovation right now. And Venice High School, coming up from Florida last night, not arriving until midnight. last night at the hotel. They won the toss, John, and they elected to take the ball first.
Well, they want to get the ball. They want to get their best player, Trey Burton, his hands on the football. That's the best chance that Venice has to win the football game tonight. Move the football, move the chains, and keep that passing offense of Oscar Smith on the sidelines.
I thought maybe John Peacock heard about the rain last night that we stood in at practice and said, you know what, if it rains again, maybe we better get some points on the board.
Well, I think Venice wants to dictate pace and tempo to this football game tonight, and the best way they can do that is to get the best player, Trey Burton, on the field for them.
Well, John Peacock played his college football first at ECU as a tailback, then went down to Georgia Southern as a linebacker, and right now trying to improve on that 11-1 season from 2008. And there's the Tigers lining it up. Ryan Trotman. Last year, John, this football team outscored the opposition 41 to 2.7 a game, but in the semifinals they won by 3, and this young man kicked the winning field goal. Bo Saravallo, Justin Grant, the deep men for Venice. This is number 1, Bo Saravallo at the 6-yard line. Over the 20, 25, and he's going down at about the 27. And that's where the 2009 season will start for the Indians of Venice High School. And here he comes, the future Gator, Trey Burton, 6'3", 228. And it's his time to shine.
Well, this is a guy that's going to get it done with his legs, and he's verbally committed to the University of Florida, and Urban Meyer thinks that he can play quarterback at the next level. And we're going to see him showcase his ability tonight and try to lead this team to their first victory in their opening game.
First play from scrimmage for the 2009 season. Burton averaging about 7 yards a carry last year. John Cooley, the offensive coordinator, saying he will probably pass the ball, or hopefully pass it more, here this fall. Out of the I formation, Justin Grant dots the I, and he has nowhere to go. The Tigers are there to bring him down. You can read the starting lineups on the top of your score panel. And big number 74, Corey Stewart. I say big number 74, John. He's 5'9", 255, but he had 13 sacks last year.
Yeah, he's an edge player. He can hold his ground on the short side of the field is where he normally lines up, and that time just dominating the line of scrimmage.
Burton out of the shotgun this time. Loss of 2 on the play, 2nd and 12. And the give is to Justin Grant. And a gain of 1 possibly. And so they pick up 1 of the 2 yards lost. Justin Grant, a defensive back and a wide receiver last year. As Venice goes 11-1, as I mentioned, and they lost Dree Archer. They're back from last year, rushed for over 1,400 yards. He went to Kent State.
Yeah, a lot of pressure early in this game with Venice having 3rd and long. And let's see what they want to do game plan-wise to get Trey Burton on the edge, either give him the option to run or pass.
Third and 9, little shovel pass. Justin Grant cuts it back over the 35-yard line. Had to get to about the 37 for the first down, so he'll be shy by about 2 yards.
Nice effort by Justin Grant on the shovel pass inside. A good play by Trey Burton on the edge going left. It looks like he's going to be about 1.5 yards, as you said, Mike, short of that first down. It was a nice effort on the shovel pass there, and he has a little bit of daylight, but then a big hit from the secondary. Good job of swarming to the football by Oscar Smith, and the initial hit was by George.
Look at this, John. 4th down, first possession. 2 yards shy, going for the first down.
They may try to draw him off sides, and I think Trey Burton decided, let's call a timeout and talk about it, maybe punt the football on 4th down.
Well, the punter for this football team will be Kai Rogers, one of the linebackers who actually was coming off his shoulder surgery. And John Peacock telling us earlier this week that Trey Burton, he is probably one of the finest leaders on the high school field he's ever seen.
Well, it was nice getting an opportunity to talk with Trey earlier tonight before the game during their warm-ups, and you know, he's one of those kids that'll look you in the eye and shake your hand and talk to you. It was very enjoyable to hear what he had to say about how excited he was for tonight and the upcoming season.
So number 33 now, Kai Rogers back to punt at about his 22-yard line. Darius Jennings, Charlie Ricks standing at their own 32, so the Tigers will have good field position. Maybe. Nice punt. Charlie Ricks back inside his 15-yard line, tries to turn the corner, finally stopped at about the 15, and that's where the Tigers will open up their 2009 campaign. And here he is, the number 1 rated quarterback on the ESPNU 150, Phillip Sims.
Yeah, this is the guy, before he's done with his high school career, May said every State Virginia record in throwing the football. Just a great specimen at 6'2.5", 225, and he possesses a rocket for a right arm. He's committed to Nick Saban and to the University of Alabama. Sal Sinceri, a former coach of mine who's coaching for the Alabama Crimson Tide, is recruiting him, and just a great kid that they're going to get next season. And the numbers tell the story. 38 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions.
72%, that says a lot to me.
Yeah.
Over 3,200 yards, over 3,000 as a sophomore 2 years ago. And they're going to keep it on the ground. J.C. Coleman, he's a speedster, turns the corner, and the penalty flag dropped at about the 20-yard line. J.C. Coleman, he's 5'7", 175 pounds, and he won the district championship in the 100-meter. Runs about a 10.7.
Yeah, that's a guy that can pick him up and put him down, and he almost got the edge on the near side of the field.
Darnell Parsons, the head referee here tonight, out of the Southeastern District here in Virginia.
Blocking it back, number 1 on offense. Half distance to the goal, still first down. And out.
Well, I'll tell you, Tom Luganbill and the guys at Scout Sync do a great job evaluating these high school players because there's a lot of them. We'll talk more about that at halftime coming up, but they certainly did not miss the boat by ranking Phillip Sims number 1 as the number 1 quarterback, I should say.
No, he was very impressive last night. I'm excited to see him spread the football around tonight.
Sims steps up, fires, and this one's a little bit low. You know, yesterday in practice, I don't think we saw one pass. But, of course, John Peacock saying that he feels he has the best defensive line in the nation as far as high school football.
Well, I think that's the key for Venice. For the Indians on defense, they're going to have to create pressure and make Phillip Sims uncomfortable in that pocket. In the first play, or the first pass play you see there, Phillip had to step up, reset his feet. And if they can do that defensively, if Venice can break down the pocket, make Phillip move his feet and then reset, they could give him some trouble early in this game.
There you see the career numbers, pushing 8,000, 84 touchdowns. This young man started playing varsity football at the age of 13. Sims feeling some pressure, throws it out of bounds wisely, but like Peacock said, if we don't get pressure on the quarterback, we could be in trouble tonight.
Yeah, terrific example again on second down where Venice is able to move Phillip Sims out of the comfort of his own pocket, make him be outside where they can pressure him, make him throw on the run, and that's something that he'll have to adapt to as this game goes on.
Well, Phillip Sims and company push back now. There's a look at that defensive front. Clay Burton, Trey Burton's younger brother, Omari Phillips, Dino Fonte, Brandon Wilkinson. Again, Peacock feels he'd be hard-pressed, or we'd be hard-pressed to find a better defensive line.
Well, just when you think you've got him in the hole, this is where I think he can come out and shine, because they'll throw it deep. They'll spread the field vertically as well as horizontally on you. So I don't think this really threatens what they do offensively.
3rd and 15. And they're going to keep it on the ground. Coleman, nowhere to go. He's wrapped up at about the 10-yard line. Another punting situation here early in the ball game. All right, John, they're feeling each other out, obviously. The Butterflies are gone after the first play. How long before the adrenaline calms down?
Well, I think it's pretty calm right now. You go 3 plays and out offensively, and you come back and you talk about what you want to do. I think they had some guys in the wrong spots in the first couple plays, and you add pressure to that. I think that it creates problems for your timing offensively. So Venice, you know, they did a great job. They're setting the tone with their defense, and they should get decent field position.
Phillip Sims punting this year for the first time. He'll be punting his first punt from the end zone. Josh Boyle, Bo Saravallo, the deep man. This is Boyle at the 49-yard line. He's in Tiger territory. Little stutter step, a juke. He's still on his feet, and he's inside the 35, and he's dropped close to the 25-yard line after the 42-yard punt from the end zone by Phillip Sims. So good field position this time by the Indians. And we're going to take a timeout. 8:28 to go here in the first quarter from Oscar Smith High School. Scoreless ball game between Oscar Smith and the Indians of Venice. ESPN's presentation of the Old Spice High School Showcase, presented by Gatorade, is brought to you by Old Spice. Different scents for different gents. Gatorade, it's the heart, hustle, and soul of the game. That's G. And by Nike Pro Combat. And back to live action now, 8:25 to go. The play just run. Trey Burton kept it himself, and he got down close to the 20-yard line. So Trey Burton, we have yet to see him throw the football yet, but this young man, we talk about his athletic ability, but in the classroom, the guy's never had a C.
No, I wish I had that feeling way back when I was a high school senior, but he's done such a great job in the classroom, and you can see he volunteer coaches for a Pop Warner team locally, and he's just a terrific young man, and I think Urban Meyer knows what he's getting in this Trey Burton package.
The winner of the Honor Courage Commitment Award presented by the U.S. Marines. Out of the shotgun, Burton keeps it, cuts it back, spins, and he's close to the 15-yard line. You know, I saw that on the Honor Courage Commitment Award presented by the U.S. Marines that he belongs to the Technology Club. Didn't you kind of run that at Pittsburgh at one time?
I couldn't spell it at Pittsburgh. No, you know what? When you talk about a great young man and a leader of men, I think you talk about Trey Burton. All the things that you hear from his coaches to his teammates to people, the parents that we were at the hotel with last night, they talk about Trey Burton. They talk about him in almost a reverent kind of way because he does things the right way.
Last play picked up the first down. It's 1st and 10. Ball resting at the Tiger 15-yard line. Venice coming in as the underdog, 11-1 last year. There's a jump on the defensive front. Big number 75, that's Evan Hales, the All-American who's headed to Penn State.
You got offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, John, something tells me that Mr. Hales was not watching the ball that time.
No, and that's one of the things that happens, and you can see the frustration on the sideline, and Richard Morgan, the head coach for Oscar Smith, and he's telling him, watch the wheel route, and I'd be concerned about that as well, but you have to watch Trey Burton. He had one successful run to the short side of the field. They do a good job with the snap count and getting a good down position in 1st and 5.
Justin Grant dotting the I formation. 1st and 5 from the 10. Here's the pitch on the option. Grant inside the 10, down at the 5, and he's tackled just inside the 5 of the 4. And so the Indians are knocking on the door first here tonight. We talk about Burton's smarts in the classroom, but not only is he smart, this guy's pretty tough in the weight room.
Well, he is. The bench is 340 and a squat of 365, and Emmitt Smith is his role model, a former Gator and the Hall of Famer. So, one of those things that good guys to emulate your career after. And down inside the plus 10-yard line, it may be a running of Trey Burton or maybe Beckett Wales, who we haven't heard from, a fake inside. He's got the great hands at the tight end spot.
You mentioned Emmitt Smith, hence the number 22 at quarterback. His nickname is Double Deuce. Double Deuce out of the shotgun, close to the goal line. He's close, no indication yet. And he's going to be shy of the end zone. And that's going to bring up 2nd down. About a yard shy of the touchdown.
Well, not only Mike can Trey run outside the tackles, but inside the tackles, a.k.a. somebody from the University of Florida, Tim Tebow, lowers the shoulder and is not afraid of delivering the blow. And that's something that a good quarterback that likes to run will do.
Jamal Muhammad, the senior fullback. And they're in the end zone for the touchdown. It's the first touchdown of the night. And it's Double Deuce, Trey Burton, getting his first score. Burton coming into the game passing career-wise over 27 yards, 25 touchdowns. The last 2 years, 1,600 yards, 33 touchdowns. He gets the first touchdown of 2009. And Joe Carlin, a 5'7" junior soccer player, on for the extra point.
Well, nice job by Venice. The defense sets up the opportunity for Trey Burton to take his troops down and score, and they add on the extra point.
And Carlin's kick is
wide.
no good. Look at those goalposts, the old H goalposts.
I haven't seen those in a while.
6 straight runs, 27 yards on the drive, John.
Burton going over the right side. You can see that line surge for Venice taking control.
You're watching coverage of the Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Gatorade as the Venice Indians take on the Oscar Smith Tigers. We'll return to Chesapeake, Virginia after these messages. And the skies have opened here in Chesapeake, Virginia. The rain is falling down. 2:44 to go. 6-0 Venice on top of the Tigers of Oscar Smith. With the ball resting on the 17-yard line. The umbrellas are out. And Venice coming up from Florida over 800-mile trip, and as we mentioned there earlier in the broadcast, they didn't get in till midnight. But John Peacock says, hey, I don't want to use that as an excuse.
Yeah, you know, we asked him about that last night and early this morning, and he said, no, our guys are rested. Our guys are prepared to play in this football game tonight. And he didn't want to use that as any type of crutch.
And he couldn't have been happy.
No, we didn't say he wasn't pleased.
He did leave his players in bed till 9 a.m. He said that's late. Ball on the 17, out of the gun. Sims looks, fires, has his man. Touchdown, Tigers. Quinte Funderburk gets his first of the season. And John, there's that gun, that cannon I was talking about.
And he showed some elusiveness there too, some speed on the edge, and a great job of laying out by Funderburk at the pylon. You can see his elusiveness there. He's not known for moving out of the pocket. There you go. He just throws a rope down the right side, and Funderburk comes up with a big-time catch to tie the score at 6-6.
Quinte Funderburk, only a junior, filling the shoes of Tim Smith. Last year, Smith had the second most receiving yards in Virginia high school history. Ryan Trotman on. Bad snap, and we're going to have a 6-6 ball game. So not only does Carlin miss the extra point for Venice, did you call it a bad snap or bad hold?
I think it went right through the holder's hands. It was one of those opportunities. Ball, slick ball, just starting to rain here, and it's just a missed opportunity by special teams.
You're watching coverage of the Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Gatorade as the Venice Indians take on the Oscar Smith Tigers. We'll return to Chesapeake, Virginia after these messages. Welcome back to Chesapeake, 6-6 ball game, and the Tigers of Oscar Smith High School on the move. The rains continue to fall, but nothing like last night, John. John, we were here last night, and I haven't seen rain like that. If it rained like that tonight, they would have had to call the game.
I don't think they would have been able to play the football game last night, and they're very fortunate for the young men. I mean, Venice coming all that way to come and play the football game, and now they have an opportunity to try to keep Oscar Smith out of the end zone.
Coleman with the call, trying to fight his way in, and J.C. Coleman is in for the touchdown. The 5'7" sophomore gets his first rushing touchdown of the season.
J.C. Coleman's done an excellent job in this bad weather. It's raining pretty good right now, but a nice job by the left side of that offensive line to provide him a crack, and a nice job of Philip Sims keeping things under control and running this team to a 12-6 lead.
So Ryan Trotman back on for the kick. Brandon Davis the hold. Remember the last time the ball went sliding right through Davis's hands. So Trotman, who only missed 2 extra points last year, drills this one through the uprights. And this time, thanks to J.C. Coleman's touchdown, they put 7 on the board.
We talk about J.C. Coleman being only 5'7", but he gets a nice couple of blocks up front. The first one by Evan Hales and Brandon Ruffin, and then he gets a kick-out block on the edge, and he's smart enough just to know he only needs a couple yards, so he lowers the shoulder pads, gets that pad level down, and gets in for the touchdown.
You know, Philip Sims, we saw his number earlier, John, 3,200 yards passing last year, 38 touchdowns, but really, you know, because they had such large leads, he only threw it about 17 times a game.
We didn't play a lot of the games into the third quarter. They had such a big lead in some of those games. He would play to halftime, maybe a series in the third quarter, and you can see why. They can put points up in a hurry, and tonight he's doing an excellent job. 5 of 8 for 113 yards. He has a long of 26 and 1 touchdown, and on that drive, 5 plays, 58 yards, only taking a minute 41 off the clock.
Is the rain an equalizer for Venice in this football game if it continues to fall?
Well, it can only help them because it'll limit what they can do offensively. Oscar Smith, that is, trying to throw the football if they get, you know, bad weather and inclement conditions and trying to grip the football. But I think it'll help Venice to try to slow that track meet down when they go empty on offense.
Trotman with a short kick this time, and it's going to be taken at about the inside the 20, and Justin Grant falls on the football. And Justin George very quickly on the spot for the Tigers of Oscar Smith. Number 14, Philip Sims. 7,700 yards in his career coming in tonight. 84 touchdowns, already has one. And member of the EA Sports Elite 11. To qualify, you have to attend either an Elite 11 regional camp or a Nike football training camp. And as Tom Luganbill, the National Scouting Director for Scouts Inc., said, he was a no-brainer as far as making the Elite 11.
Well, Mike, we were talking about it raining hard last night. Well, I think we may have spoke a little too loud. It's starting to come down pretty good.
Ball just over the 15-yard line. Trey Burton now working for the Indians of Venice out of the shotgun. Takes it, and he takes out. Bounces off the would-be tackler, still on his feet up near the 20. And a gain of 1, possibly 2 on the play. And you're right, the rain is really coming down hard.
This looked a little reminiscent of last night without the wind. Not quite. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but weather conditions, it is hot and sticky. It's 71 degrees, but this rain is going to hamper center quarterback exchange, some handoff issues, some snap issues in shotgun, so teams will be limited in what they do if this keeps up.
2nd and 6, Burton under center this time. That's number 80. His big tight end, Beckett Wales, and the give is to Grant, Justin Grant. Nowhere to go. He is simply enveloped at the line of scrimmage, coming up to make the initial contact. That time is number 10, Xavier Simons, who moved from corner to linebacker before the season started.
Yeah, Xavier Simons, a senior, 6 foot, 190 pounds. These guys can run on defense, and that's one of the things that Richard Morgan preaches to them. You know, they have a number of plays offensively to work and learn and repeat at practice, but on defense, he likes that pressure. He likes that up-tempo, and he likes to crowd the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 5 for the Indians. 11-1 last year, trailing 13-6 on the road. Burton cuts it up. That's what he does so well. He spins over the 30-yard line. You know, Richard Morgan, the head coach of Oscar Smith, had something interesting to say. He says, just off a tape, you could feel his leadership. And when you can feel that off a tape, you know you have a quality kid. And
there was no hesitation in what he wanted to do there. He saw daylight in the middle, and he definitely went north and south. Nice spin move about the 30-yard line. Watch, no hesitation right here. He sees daylight, he goes, and the little spin move right there about the 30-yard line allows him to move the chains for Venice on offense. Just a nice job of setting up his blocks downfield. He feels the pressure of Evan Hales coming at him, and he's able to spin around him for the first down.
Rushed for 919 last year and 24 rushing touchdowns. Oh, razzle-dazzle. This is a Josh Boyle, number 21, trying to turn the corner. And he gets just over the line of scrimmage. He's ridden out of bounds by Charlie Ricks, the cornerback for the Tigers.
Charlie Ricks staying at home at that cornerback position. He's probably their best cover guy in the secondary, Mike. He has great speed on the outside, and he's probably one of the fastest players that Oscar Smith has on their team, and he's definitely aggressive, and he's just a good athlete on the edge. So I think Richard Morgan, their head coach, loves to put him out on that island, and he trusts what he can do out of that secondary.
Yeah, I think Coach Morgan said he's the 2nd fastest guy on the team, I would think, behind J.C. Coleman, the tailback. 2nd and 6 now for the Indians. Man in motion is Justin Grant. Burton, nowhere to go. He's tripped up just over the 40-yard line. Nice job coming in from the middle is Jeremy Majette. He's a transfer from Bayside High School. You know, talking to John Peacock, he said Philip Sims is a great player. Tim Smith was a great player, but they're going to miss Gerard Askew, who's at Tennessee. He said he was phenomenal. He said, living in Florida, I think at this age, he was better than John Beeson, who plays for the Panthers now.
It's an amazing statement, and it's big shoes to fill in the middle of that defense.
3rd and 3 for the Indians. 2nd quarter. Clock running at 9:05. And a timeout on the field. I'm not sure if Burton wanted a dry ball.
I think the sideline may have called that, and head coach John Peacock, he may have been in a play he didn't want to be in there. And on 3rd down, very important down, the rain's starting to slow down a little bit with 9 minutes left to go till halftime.
So we're going to step away with use up one of our TV timeouts. 9 minutes to go, 2nd quarter. Here at Oscar Smith, 13-6 Tigers. So Philip Sims under center this time. Quick handoff to J.C. Coleman, turns the corner up over the 20-yard line before he's ridden down by a host of tacklers by Venice. Coming up to make the initial stop.
And Mike, what you like to see from Oscar Smith, they have so many different offensive formations and different plays. That time they go into a full house backfield with 3 backs behind Phillip Sims. They've shown empty, they've shown trips, they've shown quads, they've done everything. And now with the rain and the weather, they go into more of a 2 tight end offense, and you never want to fall asleep for the play action and a post route to beat you deep in this type of situation.
Sims under center again, works mostly out of the shotgun to give to Coleman, the young sophomore. He's hit at the line of scrimmage. Coming up, Dino Fonte making the initial contact. Now you look at that defensive front, and again, keep in mind that our camera guys are off their lifts right now, but if you can keep your eyes open for number 72, he's 6'7", he's listed at about 290. He says he goes about 270, but he's 15 years of age. Omari Phillips, and the head coach, John Peacock, said he is a beast.
He is. I saw him in pregame and walked the other way, Mike.
That was a good line, John.
It was the truth.
5.5 minutes. Play action this time. Sims on a wet ball right down the middle, and he's looking for Quante Funderburk, and he can't quite hold on. Quinte, the 6'3" junior. Now, yesterday in a dry field, boy, he threw that 50-yard pass, and the receiver didn't even have to break stride.
It was very easy. It was just a flick of the wrist, and Phillip possesses a great right arm, and he knows how to use it, and he showed it on the touchdown to Funderburk early when he escaped the pocket, rolled to his right, and throw a rope down to the front pylon for 6 points, and that time with a wet football, he easily launched that about 55 yards with a flick of the wrist.
Well, one of the cameras coming out of the booth right now, so we have 2 cameras working. And again, the reason why is because there was some lightning and thunder in the air. And now out of the shotgun, Phillip Sims again. 3 years running, named the team offensive player of the year for this team. Could make it 4 straight. Little pump fake to the left. And he's going down, trying to set up that screen to Marquis Mays on the right side. And there's that number 72 I was talking about, Omari Phillips. They say by the time he's a senior, he is really going to be scary.
Well, yeah, he's a big guy. And we talked about him being how tall he is at 6'7", 290. And once he gets his hands on you, the coaching staff says it's over. You know, Javon Curse, yeah, he looks like the freak on the edge on the inside for Venice because he's got such great size, but he can move for a big man.
Quick glance, he looks like Ed Too Tall Jones out there.
That number on your right.
Phillip Sims now punting inside the 10-yard line for the Tigers, and he gets off a nice punt. Josh Boyle receives it at the 40. Cuts back inside up over the 45, dropped at about the 46-yard line. Charlie Ricks making the stop for the Tigers. Let's take a look now at some of the guys that have played in this Old Spice. Well, the ESPN family of networks has certainly showcased a lot of impressive football players. ESPNU 150 on ESPNU.com. Top prospects in the class of 2010 ranked by state and position. Over 150 players evaluated. And actually, Tom Luganville and company at Scouts Inc. probably evaluated over 2,000 probably nationwide.
Yeah, in that last clip you see Barkley, who just was named the starting quarterback as a freshman at USC. Pete Carroll announces that, and quite an honor for a freshman. It hasn't happened before.
More on Matt Barkley coming up after this play. 13-6. 5:28 to go before halftime. Burton working out of the shotgun again. Stops, fires, finds his man, and Bo Saravallo. That wet ball just slipped through his fingertips. And John, let's get back to Barkley.
Yeah, first true freshman to start a season opener at USC, and only 2 other guys that were able to play as freshmen and start games. Rob Johnson in 91 and Carson Palmer for the Bengals, now with the Bengals in 98. But those guys started around the 3rd or 4th game of the season. But this is a guy that mentally is there. I mean, he's been prepared all his life to take the job, to take over a team like USC. So I think mentally and physically, he's able to do the job.
The second game, he'll be in the Horseshoe in Columbus.
Yeah.
103, 104,000 people. But
Big
he says
game.
he will not be intimidated. 2nd and 10 for the Indians of Venice. Burton out of the shotgun immediately. This was run all the way. He's up to the midfield stripe. And it'll bring up a 3rd down. It's interesting. Trey Burton last year watching him on film, it seems like 70-80% of the time out of the shotgun, he was looking for that seam, but they're trying to discipline him, trying to throw the ball. But that was a run all the way.
That was a run all the way, and I think this bodes well for John Peacock, their head coach of Venice High School, and as well as Trey Burton. It's inclement weather. It's going to be tough for Oscar Smith and Phillip Sims to spread it out and throw the football with any consistency. So they can slow the game down. They're only down 13-6, and it's midway through the second quarter.
Burton facing another third down. Trips to the top of your screen. 3rd and 6. Burton should have been picked off. This is Justin Grant down near the 30, still on his feet. And wow, Charlie Ricks thought he had a pick 6 that time, John.
Boy, and that's great concentration, and you're right, Mike. Charlie Ricks was going the other way, pick 6. All he could see was the goalpost that might hit him. And this is great job and concentration on the outside by Justin Grant. With a hand in his face, that ball, wet ball coming at him, he had the presence of mind to just catch it, soft hands, and he was backpedaling at the time, so good concentration by Justin Grant.
So Grant picks up the first down for the Indians. Trips to the other side now, the near side for Burton. There's the whistle stopping play. With 4 minutes and 29 seconds to go before halftime. The monsoon-like weather conditions have subsided here, which is great because I emailed a couple of my friends talking about our practice we saw yesterday, and I don't think this weather really does our viewers justice at what Phillip Sims can do with the football.
Yeah, it really doesn't. We were able to see him in dry conditions, no wind, and being able to throw the football. And like we said at the top of the broadcast, we saw at least 30 or 40 plays against a defense on a walkthrough, meanwhile, but it was still a walkthrough, and guys were running full speed offensively, and he was putting balls right where it needed to be, and he just with the flick of the wrist, he was so impressive running the offense and running the 2-minute drill and doing everything he needed to do to prepare for tonight. And then you have the rain, the sky opens up, and really difficult to throw the football this evening.
Burton once again out of the shotgun with trips to the bottom of your screen. Again, immediately takes off. And like Richard Morgan was saying, that we would call that a quarterback draw, but that's not really a quarterback draw for them. High school football action continuing on ESPNU Saturday at 3:30 Eastern. Westerville South, the Wildcats taking on Hilliard-Davidson in the Kirk Herbstreit Varsity Football Series presented by Burger King. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. And Westerville South, for you football fans, it's the same school that produced Kajana Carter, Andy Katzenmoyer, who Carter, of course, going to Penn State. So out of Westerville South, Katzenmoyer winning the Butkus as a sophomore for the Buckeyes of Ohio State.
Looks like they'll use the wide side of the field here, Mike, to roll Burton out.
This time they swings it out to Justin Grant. And Grant's inside the 25, and he's driven down at about the 23. Your thoughts on the Tigers' defense? Now, we're talking about a defense that gave up 2.7 points a game last year, 6 shutouts, and 83 yards a game, 1 touchdown in the regular season.
Well, it's tough shoes to fill defensively. I think they're doing a pretty good job. They've been able to fill the spots, the voids at linebacker. They've done a nice job putting Charlie Ricks. Anytime the top receiver goes outside, he's locked up man-to-man on him, and they've done a nice job of limiting the running ability of Trey Burton.
3rd and 1, Burton tries to pick it up himself, and he should move the chains as he gets inside the 20-yard line. And it'll be another first down for the Indians inside the 3-minute mark. I'll tell you this, the Indians playing some pretty disciplined football right
They
now.
really are. There no fumbled snaps after the weather. That's a big concern offensively, and they've done a nice job staying on sides, really no holding calls. Not a lot of things that you would find in a first game under these bad conditions. And what they'd like to do is really milk this clock down now at 2:58 and rolling to try to score and score with under a minute left to go and leave little time on the clock for Phillip Sims.
Well, 2:58, they have another first down, so 4 downs to work with. Out of the shotgun, Burton sees the opening, the parting of the Red Seas, and he takes off. He's got that deceptive speed, still on his feet, and Burton driven out of bounds inside the 10. Now again, we go back to his Tebow-like attributes. I guess, Tim Tebow's already won the Heisman Trophy. It's hard to say Tim Tebow, but he plays a lot like him.
Well, he has the same attributes. He has the same instincts as a guy like Tim Tebow, especially in high school, because you're seeing Tim Tebow in high school. He did a lot of these similar things. As soon as he saw a little bit of daylight, there was no hesitation, Mike. He tucks the football under his arm and takes it up the middle, bounces it outside, runs over Charlie Ricks, and does a nice job of keeping his feet and moving the chains again.
Well, he moved the chains for a 1st and goal now. Out of the shotgun. That's Boyle in motion. Burton tucks it up, puts his head down, and he drives inside the 5-yard line. Again, Burton going about 228, 230 pounds, and very religious like Tebow. As a matter of fact, his goal one day is to coach football. Most of these kids say the NFL. Coach football and open a church.
Yeah, it was very interesting in talking with him. Very calm, cool, and collected before the game. Very focused in what he wanted to do, and I think he's very focused in life, and you can see the calming presence he'll have in the huddle and as well as running the team.
2nd and goal. That's Mike Herndon in at fullback now. And a penalty flag dropped over here on the near sideline with 1:13 to go. Darnell Parsons, the head referee, his microphone has been washed out in this monsoon-like evening here in Chesapeake. And the rain is coming down, but very lightly now here at Beard DeLong Easley Stadium. There's John Peacock, just his 3rd year.
But just as Venice had the ball inside the 5-yard line and really had it rolling, they get called with a procedure penalty that'll move the football closer to the 9, maybe 10-yard line. So that'll be where Trey Burton and offense line up for the Indians to try to get into the end zone with 1:13 left before halftime.
2nd down for the Indians. Pitch out to Grant. And he's strung out. A nice defensive play that time by Darius Jennings coming over from the free safety spot.
Jennings doing a nice job as well as his teammates. They really pursue to the football, do a nice job. The Tiger defense runs sideline to sideline very well, and they're doing a good job of tracking guys down and getting more bodies to the football than would be expected.
You know, John, to give kudos to this defense from 2008 for Oscar Smith. They had 22 interceptions last year, and coach said 50-plus sacks. I went back and counted them up. They had 64 sacks last year.
Unbelievable. They can put pressure, and that's exactly what Richard Morgan defensively likes to do, bring pressure.
Big 3rd down play, 3rd and goal. Josh Boyle in motion this time. Fake to Grant. Burton throws a wet football out there, and it's knocked down. And Justin George coming over, making a nice defensive play from the secondary.
Yeah, tough to be very accurate with the football right now with a wet football, and it's been raining severely here during the first 2 quarters. So what Trey tried to do that time, just get it close to Beckett Wales, and maybe he can go up and get the football at 6'3", 223 pounds, but the ball was underthrown in a good spot by the defense, and you can see number 22, Justin George, doing a nice job defensively, going up and batting the football away.
Remember, they have a new kicker in Joe Carlin, so they're going to go for it now. 4th and goal.
Looks like Richard Morgan trying to call timeout.
And there's a whistle stopping play again with 2 seconds to go in the half. So we mentioned the fact that Trey Burton has been compared to Tim Tebow. So let's go back and take a look at Tim Tebow. Ranked number 15 in the ESPNU 150, and the number 4 ranked quarterback in the ESPNU 150.
Yeah, and Tim in high school did a lot of great things, you know, running the football obviously, and was able to use his arm, and then as he got to the next level, he still got bigger and stronger and was able to lower his shoulder and run over people as well as around people. And you see Trey Burton tonight, no hesitation when he got back in the pocket, saw an opening, he was able to tuck the football down, make positive yards, and make people miss in the secondary.
Well, Trey Burton, the 6'3", 228-pound senior. We take a look at the ESPN Rise profile to get a better feel. Again, he wants to be a coach and open a church someday. His grandfather, first-round pick in the National Football League for the Saints, and participated in the 1972 Olympics in Munich. And Burton also running track and playing basketball. So Trey Burton already committing to the Florida Gators. And John Cooley, the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, say they've been standing in front of the mirror a lot for the last 3 months trying to work on his motion.
Well, it looked like, Mike, in that last offensive set, they're trying to spread everybody out and possibly run that quarterback draw.
4th down, 2 seconds to go. Final play, and Burton won't get in. While he's still on his feet, he's going to be close for the touchdown. And the officials will confer. No indication yet, but boy, he has stopped just inches shy on the final play of the first half. I thought they had him at the 5-yard line, John, and he kept on his feet. And wow, what a great defensive play by the Tigers.
And what a great effort by Trey Burton to try to get the ball to break the plane of the goal line. It looked like he was going to get close, and from our angle, it looked like he may get in because he showed a great burst of speed about the 5-yard line. Looks like he's going to be sacked here, but watch the burst right here. He breaks the tackle, and then it looks like he's going to get in, but a great job by Justin George. Justin George, 22, is going to come from the right-hand side of your screen, and I believe he's going to keep Burton out of the end zone. The big hit right there. I'm not sure, boy, that ball looked like awful close to breaking the plane. It was a tough angle from up here because his back was guarding the football, but it was awful close.
Well, Trey Burton rushed for 24 touchdowns last year. He has one already tonight. Just came up shy of his second rushing touchdown here in the evening. And coming up at the ESPNU halftime report, we'll check in on Russell Shepard. Went from Texas to Baton Rouge to play for the LSU Tigers. And we'll go inside the ESPNU 150 War Room. And, of course, it's a big high school football weekend preview. 7 games on the ESPN family of networks. First half stats and highlights coming up, and there's the numbers after 24 minutes from a rain-soaked field in Chesapeake, Virginia. Oscar Smith, number 8 in the country on the ESPN Rise Fab 50, on top 13-6 of the Indians from Venice. Well, we're ready to go as the Tigers are huddled at about the 22-yard line. Phillip Sims, again, tell our viewers, we talked about that practice yesterday. I talked about the 50-yard strike where the receiver never broke stride. Then a couple plays later, I turned to you. I said, how long do you think that last pass was? And you said probably 75 yards. But we really haven't seen that because of the heavy rains here tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think Phillip's doing exactly what the coaches are asking him to do. He's been taking advantage of those screenplay opportunities, and he's shown great poise in letting everybody come to him, drawing the defenders to him, and then dumping it over the middle and letting his athletes make plays.
Well, the Indians of Venice won the toss, and they elected to receive instead of deferring in the first half. So the Tigers, the home team, ranked number 8 in the ESPN Rise Fab 50, will get the ball to start the second half with the lead 13-6. Joe Carlin ready to kick things off here in the second half. And the second half is underway. Another short kick and another fair catch taken at about the 27-yard line. And again, it's Quinte Funderburk with the fair catch. So the Tigers now, the rains have stopped, and they'll have the ball just shy of the 30-yard line.
Very important for Venice defensively to try to come out and slow down Oscar Smith. They did a good job in the second half, and they've only limited the Tigers to 13 points in the first half. So the Venice defense doing a nice job on Phillip Sims, and Sims's numbers 50%, 5 of 10 for 113 and 1 touchdown strike to Funderburk.
Trips to the top of your screen, and Sims will open up in the shotgun here in the second half. Plenty of time. Looks off his first option, finally finds Charlie Ricks. Nice job of taking his time, and Ricks is still on his feet. Over the 50, 40, and pushed out of bounds near the 35. So not only did Sims do a good job of waiting for someone to come open, but Ricks did a fantastic job after the catch.
And Mike, let's credit that offensive line. Phillip Sims had the luxury to really stand back and stay for 4, 5, 6 seconds in that pocket. He looked down the field and then decided, no reason to force it. Let's pick out Charlie Ricks, get him the football, and then he breaks 2 and 3 tackles coming from right to left across the field. A big play to start the second half for Oscar Smith.
Gain of 36 on the play, first down, and the ball at the 35-yard line. Again, looks right, comes back left. Charlie Ricks at the 31. And somehow he got from the 31 down to the 25. Kind of slippery, like a snake that time.
Another good decision at the quarterback spot by Phillip Sims. All they're doing is running those outside receivers on a 5-yard stop route. The inside guys are going to the corner, and Phillips just reading coverage. If the cornerbacks defensively sink back to cover the corner route, he's going to take what they give them and dump the football to his playmakers on the outside.
Another first down for the Tigers. Opening possession of the second half, up 13-6. Sims looks left, comes back right, finds his man inside the 20-yard line. Quinte Funderburg still on his feet, and he drives those legs inside the 15. You know, John, you look at Sims, just under 17 attempts, 38 touchdowns, 4 INTs, and he's getting awfully close to some records here in the state.
Well, he's going to hold just about every Virginia State passing record by the time he's done. He only needs 1,400 yards passing for that record. Only 28 touchdowns, and I say only 28 because he's been in the 30s the last couple of years and 220 completions, and he's he has over 50% in passing tonight. So he's doing a nice job of spreading the football out, and these receivers for Smith are doing a great job of eluding tackles and making it tough to bring him down.
So far, passes of 36, 11 and 12 yards to open up the second half, and Sims still in the shotgun. Oh, razzle dazzle. This is Ricks. Plenty of running room. He's inside the 10, but a nice job by Josh Boyle to bring him down. Good pursuit.
Boy, great job out of the secondary by Josh Boyle, the junior. Only 5'10", 160 pounds, but it looked like he was shot out of a cannon. Nice play fake and good elusiveness in the offense by Charlie Ricks, but watch out of the secondary. A bullet coming in a white jersey wearing 21. That's Josh Boyle with a solid open field tackle. He's done that a couple times this evening, Mike.
So the Tigers on the move at the 10-yard line. First and goal. The ball just inside the 10-yard line. Sims trying to build on this 13-6 lead. Sims, plenty of time, fires, has his man. And did he hold on to it inside the 5-yard line? The official says yes. Marquis Mays. He's a junior. His nickname is Money Mays. I'll tell you, did a nice job of holding on because I thought it slipped through his mouth.
Looked like that ball was going down, and a good decision by Sims. He comes to the inside. Let's see if that ball slips through his legs and hits the ground. I don't think it did. That's a good job and good concentration by Marquis Mays.
Sims under center this time. Backfield full, and the handoff is the big number 75, and he's still on his feet, and was that the fridge or what?
Look out, Joe Pa.
All right, number 75, of course, that is Evan Hales, the All-American who's headed for Penn State, but he's going as a defensive tackle. I'm not sure Joe Pa is going to use him like that.
I think it took Evan Hales about 5 days to get in the end zone, but nobody could bring him down. Watch the big fella. He just lays on the pile, but I don't know if his knee came down about the 2-yard line. Looked like that knee may have hit the ground. The officials don't see it, but you got to credit big number 75. He kept those legs pumping. No one saw that, and he gets in for 6.
Davis to hold on the extra point for Ryan Troutman. And the kick. He's missed one. He's missed two now here tonight. This one wide to the right side. Another touchdown for the Tigers. Even though they missed the extra point, they open up a 19-6 lead as we take another look at it, John.
Well, Evan Hales gets the ball. He's going to go up the middle. He doesn't go down by contact, but his knee may have hit right there. Nobody sees it, and he rolls in for 6.
You're watching coverage of the Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Gatorade as the Venice Indians take on the Oscar Smith Tigers. We'll return to Chesapeake, Virginia after these messages. And we're back in Chesapeake. We just missed one play as Burton out of the shotgun tried to run it up the middle, and Evan Hales, who we've seen score the touchdown, he snuffed him out at the line of scrimmage, so it's going to force a punting situation now for the Indians of Venice here in the fourth quarter. 19-6, that's our score. The Tigers of Oscar Smith here in Chesapeake, number 8 in the ESPN Rise Fab 50, 15-0. Their first state championship last year, and Venice 11-1. I was telling that story, John, about the playoffs. They had beat Charlotte 56-19 in the regular season. They went into the playoffs without Dree Archer. They had 11 penalties, and they were up 3 with a minute 42 to go. They punted the ball. It looked like the Charlotte player knee had touched, and he raced 83 yards for a touchdown, and that's how they got beat. Coming up after the punt, Tom Luganville will join us. Kai Rogers punting from the midfield stripe. Charlie Ricks will let it hit at the 10 and go out of bounds. So it looks like the Tigers will have about 94 yards to go before pay dirt with the 19-6 lead. National Scouting director, the director of National Scouting for Scouts Inc., Tom Luganbill, and this is the guy that evaluates thousands and thousands of high school players. He joins us down from Texas. He'll be doing that DeSoto game against Cedar Hill tomorrow. Lugs, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, guys. Good to be joining you.
I'll tell you what, we almost got washed out in the first half. It was really raining hard. I don't think our viewers saw what Sims can do, but John and I agree in the second half, Sims is starting to warm up here.
Well, it's so difficult to throw when you've got poor conditions. That ball is slick. It's hard enough, and John, you know as well as anybody, to get a snap, let alone find the laces and get the ball off clean like you'd like to. So it's unfortunate you guys got those conditions there.
You know, Luke, I was telling our viewers, I came to practice here on Wednesday, and it took just a couple of plays to see why you rank him as the top quarterback in the ESPNU 150. What separates him from maybe a Jesse Scroggins, who's number 2?
Well, I tell you, the one thing about Phillip Sims is not only does he have the fine physical tools that you always look for, but we really scrutinize, you know, how he's been groomed, what he's been prepared for, and the job that he's done given some of the offensive schemes that have been thrown his way. There's a lot of plays in that playbook. He can make all the throws, and we really like what he's been able to handle from an offensive load and a responsibility standpoint. That kind of, in our opinion, put him as a cut above.
I was amazed in watching practice, even though they had the walkthrough last night. I mean, the ease that he gets the ball out there. I mean, he's just a flick of the wrist, and the ball's 35, 40 yards down the field, and it's so accurate. And I just was amazed. I didn't see one ball hit the ground. It was a tremendous display.
Well, you know, accuracy is the key element to quarterback play. People can talk about height, weight, arm strength, all those sorts of things, but if that ball's not in a catchable spot for your wideouts, it all doesn't matter. And I think that this is a guy that's been blessed with physical tools, but he understands that. He can make all the throws. I know speaking with you guys yesterday, you guys were, you know, pretty enamored with his ability to make the deep throw and then dump it off and work through progressions and find ways to get the ball to the right guy given the set of parameters defensively. And I think that's one of the things that makes him unique. It's not a great class, guys, quarterback-wise. I think it's more of a developmental class, and I don't mean that as a negative. I just mean that more guys are probably going to be better down the road than they are going to be immediately in college. But this is a guy that I think could fit in very nicely down in Tuscaloosa once he signs with Alabama come February. You
know, Luke, I want to talk about Trey Burton. One more question about Tuscaloosa. We talked with his father, Jeff Sims, who knows you very well, of course, and he said there's no way they're going to redshirt. They're going to take a shot at that job. And, of course, Nick Saban just naming McElroy as starter. He's only a junior. What transpires, do you think, down there?
Well, obviously, Philip's got to play his senior year, and then he will come into the fold. And then, you know, at one point, Greg McElroy will depart, and you're going to have essentially, including Phillip Sims, 3 inexperienced quarterbacks, whether it's Star Jackson, A.J. McCarron, the highly touted prospect that was signed out of last year's class, and now Phillip. So I think it will be a very heated 3-way battle, and that's probably why they're expecting to play right off the bat, or at least compete for the job.
Well, Tom, on the other sideline, you have the verbal commitment of Trey Burton going to Urban Meyer and the Florida Gators, and we've seen him be able to run the football effectively. He's more of a work in progress. I know he can throw the football, but he's trying to use or learn some new mechanics in throwing the football, and a very tough night to see, you know, how accurate and how that's coming along, because it's a difficult night to throw the football.
It certainly is, and, you know, that's one of the reasons why we have him in the athlete category, because we think there is some work to be done technically with him from a mechanic standpoint and from being a pure passer. If he's going to remain as a quarterback at the collegiate level, he is certainly committed to the right school, because you need him to be in the spread. You need him to be in that dynamic role where he can throw the ball from different launch points, and he can be utilized as a running threat and make plays with his legs. But I think he's a work in progress. You guys said it perfectly in the passing game, and time will tell whether he gets moved to another spot or he stays on at the quarterback position.
Well, Tom, the young man had to play on a very, very wet field in the first half. Now, obviously, he's been compared to Tim Tebow. What kind of comparisons do you see from watching him on tape?
Well, I don't know if he's got the natural, raw, brute strength of a Tim Tebow. Now, Tim Tebow plays the position as if he's a middle linebacker. I think this guy's a little bit more of a sleek athlete, a guy that's going to make you miss a little bit more once he has the opportunity to kind of improvise and create.
Hey, Lukes.
Yes.
I got to cut you off there, because we just saw Sims firing it down the middle of the field. And Tim Smith no longer here. Of course, he's playing at Virginia.
Sure.
They got a couple of receivers, and Quinte Funderburk and Charlie Ricks, who are looking pretty good here tonight. He just made one of them. Quinte Funderburk just tipped the ball and came down with the catch for 41 yards. He's looking pretty darn good.
this is a football team. Rich Morgan does such a good job with that offensive scheme. They really try and be diverse. They create a lot of matchup problems. You mentioned Tim Smith, but this hasn't been a one-trick pony of an offense. They've had a lot of weapons, and you go back to the quarterback, Philip Sims has always done a nice job of dispersing the ball based on what the defense gives him.
Well, Sims fires another one. This one's complete, but the knee touches. Tom Luganbill, thanks for joining us from Texas. Have a great game on ESPN tomorrow.
You bet, guys. Thanks
Tommy,
for having me.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for stopping by. Tom Luganbill, great job of evaluating these high school football players. He'll be down in Texas on ESPN at 7 o'clock tomorrow at that DeSoto high school game against Cedar Hill.
I think he's going to have to come back next year and evaluate a receiver called Funderburk because he's putting on a show on the outside, doing a terrific job of stretching the field and getting open.
So Richard Morgan pacing the sidelines. Boy, the people around here really respect the job he's done. Morgan, of course, has been in the playoffs every year since 2003, winning it all last year. Sims avoiding Amari Phillips and lofts it, and it's complete to Marquis Mays inside the 5, just shy of a touchdown. So Sims now starting to carve him up a little bit.
Well, I think it's getting to the point of the game where you can see a lot of shoulders starting to slump in white jerseys and the confidence starting to bode a little bit more for Oscar Smith. That's just a great job of eluding pressure and being able to find the open receiver. And we talked to Philip Sims' dad, Jeff, and we asked Philip, what was the best advice your dad's given you? And he said, it's just about stay calm, stay poised, no matter what's happening around you, just stay calm and take care of business. And that's what he's doing when he's escaping the pocket.
J.C. Coleman walks into the end zone. The young sophomore has his second touchdown as a Tiger. You get back to Sims, though, after Coleman's touchdown or before Coleman's touchdown, and I was so impressed, obviously, with his throwing arm, but the way he talked and the way he says he knows this offense better than everybody with the exception of maybe Coach Morgan. And I was telling you, hey, there's nothing wrong with redshirting down there, but after seeing him play, I could see why he doesn't want a redshirt.
Well, he wants to go in, and actually he's going to go in early in January, and he's going to compete for the job, and that's up to Nick Saban and the offensive staff to see where he fits in. But if he can keep progressing and keep going and keep maturing as an athlete, I mean, he's not going to be overwhelmed by the Alabama playbook. I saw the call sheet yesterday. It's very extensive, so there's nothing that he won't see in high school, play calling wise, that he'll see at the next level.
Well, whistles stopped play before the extra point. And it looked like they were lining up for the two-point conversion that time. But more on Sims, John. We talk about that state championship game last year. Here's his numbers in that state championship game. 334 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. He had touchdown passes of 34, 64, and 54 yards.
Yeah, and 54-yard strikes, they came 90 seconds apart, and 3 of those were on the first play of a possession. So this is a guy that comes out, and that's what I think. You have a play caller and a head coach like Richard Morgan who's not afraid to throw the football, especially early in the count, on first down, on second down, and come out because he has the confidence in his quarterback to make the right decisions and distribute the football properly.
Richard Morgan, we mentioned, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Plus, he has 4 kids, ages 7 to 2. He has Brianna, Alexis, Luke, Sean. I mean, his wife, Marie.
She's a saint.
She must be a saint.
I think she works at the school.
Yeah,
absolutely, right? As a guidance counselor, guidance office. Yeah, she's a saint.
But what did Coach Morgan say? Hey, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
That's right.
And he says he has an outstanding staff that works
tirelessly
behind him.
That's right.
15-0 last year, and they expect to be back in the playoffs. Sims going for the 2-point conversion, looking for Ricks, and he has it in the back of the end zone. So Ricks, little mud. That's always fun when you're opening up under the lights. Tigers are all smiles now, 27-6 on top of Venice. And let's take a look at our G moment of the game, brought to you by Gatorade.
What happened early in this football game as Philip Sims was flush from the pocket, he was able to find one of his favorite targets on the evening, Quinta Funderburk for the touchdown. Just a strike, a laser beam out to the right side, and Funderburk able to get inside the pylon for 6 points to open up the scoring for the Tigers.
Sims telling us yesterday afternoon before the skies opened up that he's not going to redshirt, but hey, if he has to stand on the sidelines, as long as they win. Winning is the most important thing with this young man.
And that's the way it should be for any quarterback or any position on the field. If you're part of a team and that's your main objective is to win a state title in high school, a national title in college. So if you're winning, you're doing something right.
There's a short kick taken at the 25-yard line. David Williams coughs up the football, and I think the Tigers may have it at the 30. Let's wait for the call. Now the Tigers are saying they have the football. Indians disagree, obviously. But David Williams, who played just special teams last year, worked his butt off in the offseason, became a captain and a starter in the secondary, was popped hard and coughed up the football. They're saying Venice football.
I think, Mike, what happened, he ran into one of his own players on special teams right there who actually dislodges the ball. And he's lucky and very fortunate to get back on it because it looked like the special teams player, Oxford Smith, on the bottom of that pile trying to wrestle it away. It was 2 against 1 on the bottom of that pile, but David Williams able to come up with the football for Venice.
Now you get back to Sims, and he's going to Tuscaloosa. He's going to go there in December or January and partake in spring ball. Right after this first play, I want to take a look at that depth chart for Alabama as far as the quarterback position is concerned. Ball on the 30-yard line for the Indians. 27-6, they trail now with 8:32 to go in the game. Burton fires it short, looking for Josh Boyle. And that's number 10, Xavier Simons out there on the coverage. Let's take a look at that Alabama depth chart. McElroy named the starter from Saban. He's only a junior. So what are your thoughts now? Of course, it's a hypothesis, but what do you think is going to happen?
Well, you never know what's going to happen. You know, you're always one play away. Even though the starter's been named, you're always one play away from being that next guy. But you have 2 sophomores down at the bottom and then 2 freshmen as well. So Phillip will have an opportunity to go in and learn the offense in the spring. That's a big advantage for him. He'll be able to compete right away, and he'll be able to, maybe see where he sizes up with his arm strength, with his knowledge of the offense, and that'll give him a leg up getting in there early.
Burton rolls out, and he finds his man Josh Boyle up near the 48-yard line. He's dropped by Charlie Ricks. Let's take a look at his ESPN Rise profile. Phillip Sims. Favorite movie, Varsity Blues. Favorite musician, T-Pain.
T-Pain.
And his favorite other sport, basketball. He was a center. He said, I was probably the smallest center around, so he led the team in rebounding. Didn't score much, but he won't be playing basketball this year, of course, because, as we mentioned, he'll be down in Tuscaloosa. Trying to crack the 2 deep with the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Bo Saravallo inside the 40. He's driven down.
Nice job by Trey Burton in the last couple plays of Venice, spreading out the offense and really distributing the football to the short side. He's done a nice job of being accurate. And again, Mike, can't stress enough what a difficult night it is to throw the football. And I think both quarterbacks have handled that pretty well. I think Trey Burton's done a nice job in throwing the football and running the football, especially trying to protect it. And Phillip Sims doing an excellent job of throwing a wet football, heavy and slick, but being very accurate with the football.
And right now the Indians with 8:05, so plenty of time, but down 27-6. They don't want to go all the way back down to Florida without scoring at least another touchdown here. Lobs this one out, and it kind of wobbles with the outstretched hands of number 80. That's Beckett Wales, the 6'3" senior. ESPN Rise speaks to the high school athlete through aspiration, improvement, and recognition. Log on to ESPNRise.com for more information. Beckett Wales, he's on the board with USF as well. The defensive end there, Brandon Wilkinson's going to be a Bull next year, and Beckett Wales, they're not sure if they need another tight end, but he is on their board.
Well, he's got the great size and the good hands, and he's got pretty good speed too. Clocked at a 4.6 in the 40. He runs really nice routes, and I've been impressed with his blocking ability tonight. He was called for a holding call, but I think it was a bad call in the middle of the field. He did an excellent job of getting in the right position.
There's Burton firing it down the middle. This one's to Justin Grant down to the 25, and he's slammed down. And so Justin Grant, a former receiver, pulls that one in, and it moves to change another first down with 7:47 to go.
Good read by Trey Burton, being able to settle in the pocket, nice protection, and found a wide open receiver.
Wales, again, the leading receiver, coming back at 6'3", 223. Over the middle, that's Wales. He's inside the 10-yard line, and he's tripped up. That's Trayvon Griffin, the sophomore cornerback, making the initial contact. And Beckett Wales, Indiana, Iowa, Iowa State. He's on the board. Of course, as we mentioned with USF, Syracuse also taking a look at him, as well as Florida Atlantic. So he's got plenty of schools looking at him. Here's Burton. Cuts it inside, and he's in for another touchdown, his second rushing touchdown of the Knights. And the Indians look pretty good on that drive.
That was a very good drive set up by Trey Burton, throwing the football and then finishing it up with a little bit of a quarterback draw. A nice job. It's almost a quarterback counter with a great job by the tailback, just trying to go in and shade the middle linebacker, Jeremy Majette. And then it's all the athleticism of Trey Burton high-stepping into the end zone.
So Burton rushing for 24 touchdowns last year, 2 to open up the 2009 campaign, and Joe Carlin to attempt the extra point, down 27-12. And the kick is up, and it is good. We're going to take a step away, but first, another score by Trey Burton.
Yeah, nice drive by Trey Burton, doing a good job throwing the football over the middle and then doing what he does best, run it into the end zone.
You're watching the Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Gatorade. 4:25 to go, 27-13. Oscar Smith and Philip Sims in control.
Yeah, he was in control from start to finish. He did a nice job distributing the football outside to multiple receivers, and I was impressed with his elusiveness in the pocket, being able to buy some time and still be accurate on the run. I thought he did a nice job in drawing the defenders to him in the screen game, and then he was able to put the ball deep accurately, get a few lucky bounces, and then have some fun on the sidelines. He enjoys what he's doing.
Philip Sims, the Old Spice player of the game, 13 of 19, 266.
Yeah, big night for Philip Sims after it looked like, with that rain coming, it didn't look too promising about throwing the football deep into the second quarter in the second half. But he did an excellent job of managing the game and coming out in the third quarter and throwing some nice footballs.
Burton goes down the middle looking for Beckett Wales again. He had him open, and he undershot him, or actually they overshot him, I should say. And the Indians, the last time they had the football, they just used up 1:23 and scored in 6 plays.
They did a nice job of moving the football when they had it in that last series, and Trey Burton was very accurate in that series as well, trying to spread the football around. But that Beckett Wales down the middle, he had him again, and as you said, Mike, just overthrew him.
So the incompleted pass leaves a 2nd and 10 for Burton out of the shotgun. Again, he comes back. It's Bo Saravallo on the near side, up over the 40-yard line. Had to get about the 44 for the first down. So Philip Sims, we mentioned the fact that he's not going to redshirt. What does he have to work on? Of course, we only saw him in the second half because of the wet field out there. But what do you think, being a former quarterback at Pittsburgh?
Well, the only thing he's going to need to work on is probably having more repetitions from under center. I think most of the 75, 85% of the plays he's been in shotgun, and that's only because that's what they do here. But I think going to Alabama and having a running back and a tailback and a fullback in that game, some of the play action routes will be from under center. So he'll have to go back and, just retrain those steps and do more things under center. And we talked about that yesterday, and he realizes that that's just about opportunities. But, arm strength, seeing the field, being able to retain an offense, I think he's got that down, because if you can master what they're doing here at Oscar Smith with that play sheet that Coach Richard Morgan has, I think you're going to be able to take on any playbook.
Saravallo picked up the first down. Now Burton wrapped up just shy of the midfield stripe, and there's a host of tacklers. Dontrell Holmes, the defensive end, making the initial contact. High school football action continues on ESPN. Tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern. The Wildcats of Westerville South take on the Wildcats of Hilliard-Davidson in the Kirk Herbstreit Varsity Football Series presented by Burger King. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. That'll be played in the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio on ESPNU. That starts at noon on ESPN as St. Thomas Aquinas takes on Upper Arlington. Upper Arlington, a town just in the shadows of the Horseshoe, and Beckett Wales should have had that one. And again, we take a look at the upcoming schedule. All starts at noon tomorrow. St. Thomas Aquinas, last year's national champions. We had them last year in Cincinnati. They beat Elder. Elder went on to lose in the Ohio State Championship game. Then you have Westerville South on ESPNU at 3:30. At ESPN at 7 o'clock down in Texas. DeSoto against Cedar Hill. And then Sunday at noon and 3:30 on ESPNU. 2 more games. 3rd and 7. Trey Burton. Those are down in the dirt. The intended receiver was Bo Saravallo, so he looks a little frustrated right now. John Cooley is his quarterback coach and offensive coordinator. He's up in the booth here. He played at Auburn. And as a matter of fact, you might have seen him in Remember the Titans on Any Given Sunday. He said he's been in 5 movies. And he was playing quarterback for Auburn during when that fire broke out. And the barn burned down. Remember back in '96, I think it was. They lost to LSU. He had led 2 scoring drives in the 4th quarter. They lost at 19-14. He's been really working hard with Burton for the last 3 months. He said, what do you think Burton now as he heads for Gainesville next year? And if Urban Meyer sticks to his guns and gives him a shot to play quarterback, obviously he has to continue working on his passing.
Well, I think he's going to fit that offense, and he's going to suit that offense with what he does. I think it's just, more repetition about throwing the football and being able to set your feet and being able to deliver the football on time, because he's so used to getting back in the pocket, and if he doesn't like what he sees, and to take off. And I think that the coaching staff gives him that liberty to do that. So it's one of those things where you'd have to, you like his fit in Florida's offense, but it's just more repetition about throwing the football and getting that timing down, because he definitely has the character and the toughness and all the intangibles that a quarterback would need. I believe Trey Burton possesses.
There's Cooley there talking into the microphone on the right of your screen up here in the booth. Played his high school ball at Cardinal Mooney. Jimbo Fisher, he says, was his biggest influence at Auburn. Of course, Fisher now at Florida State. Matter of fact, Cooley was supposed to go to Florida State, and then they had to recruit somebody else, get a scholarship. So Bobby Bowden got him to go to Liberty at first, play for his son Tommy Bowden. Here's Burton, pops up the football. It's on the grass, and he falls on it. But it's another big loss for the Indians. And then to finish that story, Cooley left Liberty and wound up at Auburn to play for the Tigers. So frustrating evening now for Trey Burton.
Yeah, Trey trying to use his speed to get to the outside, but another good job by that Oscar Smith Tiger defense of really staying at home and getting outside. And take a look at Trey's numbers on the evening. 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 216 yards throwing the football and tough 81 yards. He earned every one of those on the ground. There's going to be better days for that young man this year. I think this team's going to, they have the characteristics to come together and pull together. They have a lot of youthfulness and a lot of exuberance on defense. They just have to put it all together on offense.
There's the pitch to Coleman. And he's driven down. Number 81, that's the defensive end that's headed to USF, Brandon Wilkinson. One of the captains for the Indians. Wilkinson, John Peacock saying, has a great first 2 steps. He says Burton's more of a technique guy on the other end, but Wilkinson, they really wanted pressure on Sims. Did he get that kind of pressure he was looking for?
He got a little bit of pressure, but the one thing, they weren't able to keep him in the pocket. I think they were able to put some pressure on Sims, but he was able to elude and go to his right and still be able to keep his eyes down the field. There was only a couple times where Dino Fonte was able to get Sims in the backfield for a couple of sacks, but other than that, he was able to elude pressure and still find the open receiver.
We're talking about verbal commitments. How about the Bulls of USF? Now we take a look at some of their verbals, and what a big season for these guys. Of course, they had 2 tough finishes in 07 and 08. But they've got Florida State and Miami on their schedule this year. And of course, their recruiting basis, as we found out last year, is about 80 miles radius from the Tampa-St. Pete area.
Yeah, and there's a lot of athletes in that area, and you say a big year for South Florida. If they can go and defeat one of those 2 teams, it makes the ground a little bit bigger in the state of Florida.
It certainly does. But Jim Levitt would love to win those, at least split the Florida State games in Tallahassee, and later in the season they will play Miami in Tampa Bay. Inside 3 minutes of the ball game now, 27-13 as the Tigers try to run out this clock. And Justin George, most of his action on the defensive side, gets a carry, and it's a good one as they pick up the first down inside the 20-yard line.
Yes, J.C. Coleman got nicked up on the play, on that last play. Gaston George comes from the defensive side, as you said, Mike, and he's got fresh legs. He looked good going through the tackles.
Gaston George, 5'10", had 4 touchdowns last year, even with Perry Jones in the backfield. Perry Jones, again, 33 touchdowns last year. Wow.
Amazing.
And Tim Smith with 24 and 4 touchdown catches in that state championship game.
And you throw in the 38 passing scores by Philip Sims.
Yeah. Nice defensive play as Justin George has nowhere to go, that right side of the line. Brandon Wilkinson busting through to make the initial contact. Now you look at the top recruiting classes. Florida, how about the Gators, huh? 8 of their 16 are top 5 picks.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're getting who they want to.
They have 9 ESPNU, 150 athletes, 8 top 5. You look at Texas, 19 verbals.
And 10 of those ESPNU, 150 athletes. So, those top teams are getting the athletes that they desire.
So the rich are getting richer. And Richard Morgan's about to open up this 2009 season. They've won 22 consecutive regular season games now here at Oscar Smith. And I'll tell you, that young man right there, Philip Sims, has all the respect in the world for Coach Morgan, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He spoke very highly of him and the relationship that they have. That bond. He started 4 games into his freshman year, so they've been together quite a long time.
Well, Justin George trying to turn the corner, and he's driven out of bounds by Cody Salas, one of the linebackers, number 10, a 6'2" junior for the Indians. And getting out of bounds stops the clock now with 1:12 to go. Oscar Smith, Coach Morgan telling us yesterday that I don't know how we're going to perform tomorrow because we have a lot of holes to fill on the defensive side, but we're going to be better. By the time the playoffs come around, we're going to be a better football team than what you're going to see tomorrow night or tonight, as he said yesterday.
I thought they did a great job of executing, under these conditions offensively. They really did a good job of throwing the football, and then they ran the football with J.C. Coleman at will.
Justin George again trying to bounce to the outside, and he's inside the 15-yard line. So Justin George getting the bulk of the carries here as they wind down the clock. Inside a minute, the season opener for both Oscar Smith and the Indians of Venice, Florida.
And I think, Philip Sims did what he wanted to do, and I think Richard Morgan got to use some of those plays on those wristbands, and they did what they needed to do coming out in the third quarter. I thought it was big when they came right out of halftime and went right down and put 6 points on the board, and that really set the tone for the second half, and you could tell it sent Venice reeling a little bit. They tried to come back and put some points on late in the game, but they were just too much to overcome.
Well, Philip Sims already owns the 4 top passing games in school history. He threw for 480 yards 2 years ago. That is a state playoff record. And then last year, as we mentioned, 355 in the state championship game, hitting for 6 touchdown strikes. How about John Peacock on the other side? What does he take from this game?
Well, I think he knows what he has offensively. He has a competent quarterback who's working on his mechanics throwing the football, and I think he got more confident, did Trey Burton, as the game went on. Tough conditions, wet football, slick football. They didn't turn the football over, and they protected it in the passing game. He's got a great runner in Trey Burton. I think he knows what he has in his tight end, Beckett Wales, and I think Bo Cervello and Evan Boone and Josh Boyle did a nice job as complements on the outside. Defensively, they have to put more pressure on the quarterback. He said that if they didn't get it done tonight with rushing 4, that was going to be his main plan all year. So I think they may have to think about sending somebody else, a linebacker, maybe blitzing a strong safety to add to that pressure. They tried to get to Sims. They got to him a few times, but not enough.
Fourth down, Sims going upstairs looking for Funderburk. And the Indians are saying no, not this time. David Williams on the coverage. And Richard Morgan. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that call?
Well, I think, I don't know. I was thinking he was just going to run the football and maybe and maybe end this game on a run, but they try to go up top, and it was incomplete. So the defense will go back onto the field for the Tigers.
You mentioned Morgan at the top of the broadcast, 76-10 here, 91-21 overall in 10 years of head coaching. Playoffs 6 times in 7 years. And of course, regional champs in 07 and 08, winning a state championship last year, going 15-0. And they blew out Osborne at Virginia Tech in the state championship game in the semifinal. It was a 10-7. This is Saravala with the catch over the 30-yard line as time winds down to 23 seconds.
There's a nice ball.
I can't see this team.
By Burton.
The Tigers averaged 41 points a game last year. They beat Oakton in the semifinals 10-7. These fans must have been holding their breath.
Yeah. Anytime you're held to 10 points as an offense, I think that was a very rare instance for this offense.
Here we go, 23 seconds to go in the ball game. Burton, future Gator, Justin Grant with the catch, and Grant's backtracks, but he's still on his feet. And he says, you know what, we're going to lose this football game, but I'm going to do some razzle-dazzle, do my Barry Sanders imitation.
I'm tired after that play.
And they called the timeout, 4 seconds to go, and it was 23 seconds on the clock, so most of it was.
Oh, man, that was, I don't know about that. I'm going to try it over here.
John Peacock. We mentioned former tailback at East Carolina before heading for the linebacking corps at Georgia Southern. Getting a chance to play on national television now, and as Justin Grant shows off what he can do as a running back. Grant's 6 feet. He's a senior. Southern Illinois, Northern Illinois have been in touch. Peacock thinks that if he has a good year, of course he was a receiver and a defensive back last year, that he really feels he has some wheels and he can do some things.
Well, he showed all of them. If he had his 10 best moves, I think he showed all of them on that last play.
Last year he caught 7 balls only, but for 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, that's a 29-yard average. That's pretty impressive. So the Tigers, they're going to win the ball game, but they're going to make sure that the Indians don't score. That's number 10, Xavier Simons, the senior linebacker, back at the 5-yard line. Burton fires down the middle. Boyle still on his feet. He spins at the 26, and he's dropped. And this ball game is over. 27-13 is the final score, and the Tigers of Oscar Smith ranked 8 in the ESPN Rise Fab 50, coming out victorious. John, your final thoughts?
Well, we got to see the #1 quarterback in the country, Phillip Sims, doing what he does best. He was finding the open receivers, making good decisions, and leading his team to victory.
Once again, the first of 7 games on the ESPN family of networks. It starts at noon tomorrow from the Horseshoe and runs till 7 o'clock at night, of course, down in Texas on ESPN. There are more games on Sunday on ESPNU. So the Tigers, they win their first game, but they're idle next week, so they can think this one over.
Yeah, a lot of time to improve, and I'm sure that that offense will get together, defense will get together, special teams. Take a look at those films, break them down, and that goes for Venice as well. I think they'll both get better from this experience tonight.
Once again, the final number is 27-13. The Tigers of Oscar Smith over Venice from Florida. For John Congemi and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Mike Gleason. Coming up next on ESPNU, college football prime time as the Tennessee Volunteers take on the Gamecocks of South Carolina. For more information, log on to your home for the finest in college sports, ESPNU.com. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long, everybody, from Chesapeake, Virginia. 27-13, the final numbers.